Welcome to episode 3 of the With Laura Smith podcast. Today I am so excited to talk with Sab, a tarot reader, a mystic. We are going to get into some cool topics. Let's do this. And we are rolling. Hello everybody, here I am with Sab. Sab, thank you so much for joining me today. And I am very excited that you agreed to join me because I've seen your Instagram and I got very inspired and I thought you are such a cool person and we can create some great podcasts together. So if you want to introduce yourself, and where are you from also, because I know we have a little time change. So where are you from and what you are about?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast today. I'm really excited. My name is Sab. I just recently started officially my business called Parlour Esoteric Arts. But for many years, I've been using tarot and magic and ritual as part of my creative process and then part of my own personal process, whether that's with all sorts of, all aspects of life. So I'm in Canada. I'm in the east coast of Canada. So right by the Atlantic Ocean. I can see the ocean from my bedroom every morning, which is wonderful. And this is really great to connect.
I love that. So you just started the business. You just opened up the Parlour Esoterics, right? So
Yeah.
what inspired you to do that? What happened? Why now?
So for many years I've been like, I would do multiple things separately. So I make music as I've been making music for 15 years, and that was a separate entity. And then I was doing forest bathing and nature connection, and I kept that separate. And all these things, they didn't make sense to keep separate anymore. So last summer, I left my job, and then I was able to really focus my time and energy doing this work full time. And I felt like I got a calling to kind of combine everything. I hadn't been listening to it, right? So for many years, it was like I would hear it and not really like dive in. And then finally, I was offered. There's a program that I'm able to work through right now. So it gives us a year of funding to really just hone in and start a business. So that kind of lit a fire under me, and I was like, let's stop separating everything and just combine everything together and see what happens. So Parlour was born early this year in May. And it's just kind of, it's funny because it's so new still, but I feel like it's already gone through multiple changes as businesses do when you start them. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
I love that. Is it just yourself or you are there with someone else?
Right. Just me for now.
Okay.
I'm hoping one day I'll have a whole team of people, but right now it's just me.
I love that. So you said you were doing music before, like it was like kind of also like a spiritual music. What was the music about?
So I play music I'll name drop, under Den Mother, and she's kind of like an experimental electrician. It's an experimental electronic music project that I started, I don't know, almost 15 years ago. And it's just over the years has evolved as a way to, it kind of like become, it's like a channeling almost now. So when I'm writing, over the last few years, really, I've been writing with tarot more and more, and like using tarot in meditations to kind of access this part of my higher self or my guides or whoever's there helping me. And it's really kind of like amped up my writing process, and also to performing. So there's someone else who comes through in those performances. It's not Sab. I mean, it's Sab, but it's not Sab. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Exactly.
it all kind of like connects together. And so I really feel like I want to share those processes with people because I meet a lot of people who feel like they aren't creative. And I don't think that's true. I think that it's just cut off. Like we've cut that part of ourselves off sometimes. So sharing that with other people has been really important to me lately.
Why do you think people cut that part off? the
I think
creative
we're
part?
just as we when we're young, we're always told like, oh, that's your imagination. Stop living in your imagination. But
Mm,
imagination is the king, right? Like we create, like that's that's I mean, that's how we create our world through imagination. So when we're brought up in just the nature of society and work and school, it's like get out of your head and be in the real world. And so that it's
hmm
very easy for people to shut that part of themselves off because it's unrealistic, I guess. But then there's another aspect to it. Like a lot of people will say they're not creative, they can't do art or they can't do music. But
hmm
like, if you cook, you're creating, right? There's math wizards who I can't access that part of my brain, but they're creating like it's just a different way to look at it. So yeah.
I love that. Math wizards. That's pretty funny. I wish to be a math wizard, but
Me too.
but I'm not. I love that. So basically, when that happened for you, when did you discover that you have that creative magic within you, the intuition? Was it like always there, or you also disconnected from it, or and it show up, or it was just like part of you for whole life?
I think I was always creative as a kid. I was just a drama kid by heart. Always putting on plays and writing scripts for things. Just really creative. And my mom, she really nurtured that part of me and my brother. She really nurtured that part of us, like go and make an adventure in the backyard sort of thing. And then, as you get older, there was a time in middle school where I was bullied. So you sort of like shut that part off so you can fit in, right? Because I really wanted
Mm,
to fit in. Um, I think that was the beginning of the downfall where I was like, well, it's not cool to have an imagination, so I'm just not going to.
mm,
But it was still knocking at the door. But I don't think it was until I got sober a number of years ago, and I don't think it was until then that I really listened to that spiritual side of creativity because I'd always been interested in spirituality, but it wasn't until I had cleared my body and mind and now I had more space to kind of access those parts of myself that I was drowning out essentially.
mm-hmm.
So so it's just been within the last decade that I have really uh, connected to myself on a much deeper level and been open to receiving it because that was a thing too. When you're not ready to receive it, it can either scare you or you're just like, no, I'm not interested. So I was ready, and it's just been building since. So
Why do you think you weren't ready before?
I can't really say. I think we all go through the process of like I believe that we're called at certain points throughout our life to deepen in, and if you don't answer, you don't answer, but they'll be back. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
back. So I think it was just my time. I don't think I was ready for. I don't think there was a lot of healing I needed to do before I was ready to like progress. So I had not been ready to heal yet. So until I felt like it was the right time for me to sort of grow up, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't really know why. I don't think there's any reason why. It was just the timing, divine timing.
Divine timing, always. So, what was it like? When was the first time you pick up the tarot deck, or what did you start with? What was like the first thing that really truly like opened your eyes?
Okay, my story with tarot is kind of funny because I knew about tarot, but I was raised to really be scared of that kind of stuff. So like tarot and witchcraft and the occult. But then I had a friend who we were doing yoga together a lot, and then she gifted
Mm,
me this like astrology tarot deck, which I wasn't into astrology. I wasn't into tarot at the time, and I was like, oh, cool, thank you. I didn't know how to work with it, but it was sort of just like the first step. And then from there, I bought my own tarot deck because I think I believed for a while, like, you can't buy your own tarot decks. Then I just decided I didn't believe that. And I just bought a tarot deck and and I started exploring it. And it was I wonder the Wild Unknown Tarot. I don't know if people know this one.
Okay.
It's a beautiful deck, but it's based on the Rider-Waite system, but it was the first deck that my intuition started blossoming because I didn't really understand tarot. I didn't understand tarot at all, and I didn't really understand this deck. So instead of looking up the answers, I would just sit with the cards and really let that part of
Mm,
me kind of open. And I was at school for forestry, so this is a very like earthy deck. So there was already that quality of nature. So that's really when it started. I guess the spidey senses started tingling. And then a couple years later, I think after I got sober, I went down this bizarre conspiracy theory spiral. It was
I
really,
feel like we all do.
yeah, it was really weird. And like, so then I was,
What was the theory? Share the theory, please.
oh my gosh, it was just all about like mind control and the occult and Luciferianism, like all the dark stuff, right? Like all that
Hmm.
stuff that is sort of interested. It piqued my interest when I didn't understand it long time ago in my early 20s. And then I was like, then I was starting to watch all these YouTube. This was before YouTube changed their algorithm. So like you could watch some really weird stuff on there. And so I was like watching all these videos and just started like absorbing this negativity. And I was like, okay, there's got to be, I have to understand the other side. Like everyone talks about all these, they're fear mongering about certain things. And so, and with my childhood and being raised to like, there's certain words you don't say, I sort of decided to take
Mm.
the power back. And then I got into Wicca and I started learning about witchcraft. And I, I fed the fear almost because I was like, in order to move past fear, you have to understand it. So then it opened the whole door to me about like the Illuminati was a big one. So understanding the Freemasons, but then I started going deeper into that, and like now I started understanding the Rosicrucians and like the secret societies and the Western mystery traditions, which then led me to Hermetic Kabbalah, and then which led me to tarot and the more the soul aligned version of tarot, not so much like divination, but how the
Hmm.
tarot is actually a map to your soul's journey. So it was a weird way to get there, but it was all part of the process. And now I'm not, yeah, I just like work through the words and fear and stuff.
It's not so dark anymore. Yeah, that seems like we all go through that dark stuff where we want to know the fear, and I've been there too. I was like digging and digging and digging, and everything seemed so dark, and people seemed so weird, and I started to hate the world, and like you said, the Illuminati were controlled, and I don't know, and I was like, oh, but there has to be a good, there has to be something good too.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it can be a trap. It can be definitely a trap. But I noticed you also work a lot with nature, and I really like that. Like you combine nature a lot with your. Do you do some like workshops in nature, or do you do something with the nature um, in your practices?
Yeah. Nature, I feel like it's really funny because it's been recently that I felt like tarot's very masculine, like the energy is very well, the way that I know
Mm.
tarot, it's very structured and rigid. It's very like there's a system. And then nature is more fluid and feminine. So you have the two energies that work really well together, I think, because and I used to not want to read oracle cards at all. Like I started with oracle, but I dabbled in it, but then I was like, no, I'm not, oracle's not for me. I'm a pure tarot gal. And then now it's recently, as I'm kind of softening more into my nature practices again, oracle is coming through because I feel like it's very intuitive. So having those, yeah, so using the structure of the system that I've learned in tarot, and then now applying more nature-based practices again, because I did a lot of herbalism and nature stuff years ago,
Mm.
but I kind of pivoted. But now there's just this calling to connect back to the earth, and I think that I don't know why. Maybe it's just the time of my life, the season that I'm entering. It's like I feel very connected to uh, that divine energy right now. So a lot of my work, a lot of my mentoring is shifting more towards aligning with the elements and using elemental magic and like being in nature. And yeah, so I am a certified forest therapy guide. So like I take groups that
Mm-hmm.
do forest bathing, and that's really
Oh,
beautiful. So yeah,
in Canada, I mean, come on.
Canada, yeah, especially I don't know if you've ever been out to Canada at
Mm.
all.
Not
No,
yet.
it's yeah, there's some beautiful spots in Canada that is just like nature. So yeah, I just feel like that's becoming more of a focus for Parlour, which is cool. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, it's in the developing
That's what I
stages.
wanted to ask you. What is the dream? What is the like big picture of where you want it to go?
I would love to have a retreat space so that I could do these weird. I just want to allow people to get weird in nature. Like I just want to be the container
Mm-hmm.
that gives them the space to like let's express ourselves. Let's not be worried about what people think. Let's be feral in the woods. I think there's something so important to, I don't know, growling and rolling around in mud and leaves and just like connecting to that primal part of you. And so I would love to have a retreat space where I can honor those kind of workshops and healings. Yeah. So space is really, I think, in the picture for sure.
Would you do that in Canada? Would you do that where you live?
Yeah, I would definitely do it where I live. It would be amazing to be able to go and do international retreats as well. So like be a guest at different spots around the world.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really, I don't know, selfishly, that would be really exciting for me to do.
Nice.
So yeah, what a great way to like see new places and meet new people. So we'll see how it unfolds.
Exactly. Well, you are invited here in Spain, so you're fine. You're already here. You are already good. So you said before that your family didn't allow you to use some words, and that caught my attention because they were like a Christian family, or there were like certain stuff that if you don't mind share something like that, like what was the words you couldn't use? Because I want to also like touch up like some of the American culture, or where people growing up and they can't express or they can't speak the way they want to speak, and I think it's very important to touch up on that. So I just wondering what words you couldn't use.
Yeah, I wasn't raised Christian, but I was raised a lot like in a line with the Islamic faith. So
Mm.
it was still very religious, still very strict in a lot of ways. And we were always taught like, which I still believe, like words have meaning. Words have power. But I think where it got confused is that like knowledge is power. So
Mm-hmm.
by knowing about the darkness of the world, you're giving that power. But I think by knowing the darkness of the world, you're understanding it, shedding light on the darkness. So my mom and dad we just never talked about like witches and witchcraft and magic was evil. Maybe evil is like too big of a word, but it was something like we don't do that. We
Mm-hmm.
stay in the light, and like that's understandable. I understand that. But as a kid, it kind of like the words that your parents use will sort of stick with you. So even if the intention behind it wasn't to like never explore this, but to me as a kid, I was like, oh, I'm not allowed. Like, no, we can't say certain things, and we can't talk about certain things, and we can't give attention to certain things. So that stuck with me for a long time. And I didn't realize that until I started unraveling the thread that was
Mm.
so deep in there that I was like, whoa, okay, that's really interesting that this idea of like we don't talk about the occult, even though the word occult is just means hidden
Yeah.
knowledge. It doesn't mean anything wrong. It doesn't even mean anything bad. But so yeah, I don't know, and like it's a lot less strict now, I guess, with my family, which is great. But I still see, some things I will keep to myself. I won't really talk about, but
Okay.
yeah.
I want to ask like how they see the things that you're doing now. Like, was oh, I'm gonna go to the woods, do some tarot reading. Like how they
But yeah,
would.
my mom, the nature stuff, my parents love. Like I've taken them on forest bathing sessions, and So that's just always been a natural part of our lives anyway. The tarot part is still, my mom is a little bit iffy about that. Same with goddess work. There's still that connotation of like the goddess that and God and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of warming up, and I think my mom is very open-minded and she is more receptive to what I mean, they're both very supportive, but I don't, there's things that I just won't
Mm-hmm.
talk about or don't need to, because I understand like where they're at is just different from where I'm at. But it doesn't ever feel like they are worried about what I'm doing, which is good. Yeah. Or they don't let on.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll
that's
see how it goes.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is really nice to have that support from your family, even though you might have different views on things.
So when you started to like, obviously from what I'm getting, like you had some kind of rough time and you went on your journey and you've been bullied at school and stuff. So who helped you? Like, was it just like yourself and the books and the cards that like help you to heal, or did you have somebody, or did you have like cool practices, or what would like actually help you to like get over that?
I think it was a mixture of like the bullying thing. I don't know, it was so long ago that I guess I did a lot of inner child work um, for that. So I was able to use, well, yeah, I did a lot of like inner child workbooks that you could just find in bookstores and stuff. And that's how I process. I do a lot of journaling and writing. And then I did have some therapy in there, but I felt like I got to a point with therapy where it was more, now we're just talking about the same things and we're just cycloning in that. And I naturally I think I naturally just grew out of needing that kind of therapy. And then that's where really the inner work for me started to happen, and the spirituality aspect of healing kind of kicked it into high gear. But I think I needed, and definitely when I got sober, I started going to AA meetings for the first year. But again, the same thing, like got to the first year and did all the work, and then I was like, okay, now what do we do? Like, what's next? And they were just, you just go back to the beginning and do it over again, which some people need
Mm.
that, but I just needed the next thing. Like I needed to go deeper. And so that's when I found, I'm trying, the timeline is so blurry, but I think like that's when I started really diving into tarot and magic. And that's when I was able to find the school that I teach, or that I learn with, which is 22 Teachings in Los Angeles, California. And when the pandemic happened, that was like a silver lining for me, because
Mm.
they didn't have anything online until everything had to be online. And so then 2020 was when I really was able to start studying with my teacher and just like really diving into that part of the next phase, I guess, of my healing journey, which was like the application. Because there's, oh, someone I know also, he said, he was like, there's not an information problem, there's an application problem. So like we could sit and read and learn and know and talk, and but until it's time for you to actually go in and do the work, like you're just going to be cycling through that. So I think it was just time for me to do the work after years of learning what the work was, I guess. But yeah. And it's funny because there's also these moments that I can recall where years of therapy, but then I wake up one day and I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to have social anxiety anymore. And then I
Mm.
just didn't. So there's a power
Wow,
behind the conviction of decision too, right? So, but you have to
of
get to that
course.
point. Yeah. So who knows? It's a mashup of all sorts of things.
It's also spiritual, it's also mindful. It's like you said, it's everything. It's not just like one thing. But
Yeah.
if you want, I know this is maybe gonna be a little deep, if you wanna like maybe share something about, you said like you were drinking before or you had some addictions. It was like a lot of like, for how many years, if you wanna share a story, like what happened, and because somebody, maybe somebody's going through some addiction, some problems, and how you can overcome it, that would be maybe nice, like what helped you.
Absolutely. Especially because I didn't think I had a problem, because you have this
Mm.
idea of what an alcoholic was or is. and it's someone who's lost everything, living like, but my rock bottom was really, um, I was in college, I had a job, I had a social life. I had my relationship with my family, uh, you know, uh, I was doing fine, seemingly. But then I think, I don't even know what the catalyst was, but it's just when I think back of it, it's such a progression. So things where you'd start drinking was the biggest one for me, and then it started
Mm.
getting more into some drug use, and then but there's like things I was convincing myself, like, oh well, I'm not paying for it, so I don't have a problem, or it's just a weekly thing, so I don't have a problem. I'm still going to school every day, so I don't have a problem. And then eventually, I don't really know what happened, but one day I think the biggest, the rock bottom moment was just, I remember going to karaoke with some friends and then just having this like really messy time, which if you don't have a problem would be a funny time. But I woke up in such a anxiety blanket. Like, I turned my phone off, I shut all my blinds, and I was just in my bed, and I was so sad and so scared and felt so alone and disconnected, and I was like, this can't be it. And I remember even like weeks before that, I had just kind of thrown in the towel, and I was like, well, this is just who I am. This is just what I'll be for the rest of my
Mm.
life. I'm just going to be that 65-year-old partier lady who's partying with college kids, and that's just who I'm going to be. And it was sort of like a
Wow.
self-realization. Yeah. So then I remember that morning where I was just like, I didn't expect my life to change. But I was like, something's got to change, and I don't know what it is. And I was like, let me just put a movie on to like not think about life. And the movie that I put on was called Smashed, with I don't remember the guy from Breaking Bad, Jesse or whatever, and some other girl. And like the story was about these young people, like early 20s, who they still had their job, but they were just like partying all the time. And she would black out and wake up in these spots, and she doesn't remember what happened. And I was like, this is eerily mirroring my life. And I'm like,
Mm.
and in the movie, she goes to AA, and I was like, well, if she's got a problem, maybe there's something that I should like. Do I have a problem? And then I don't even know how I don't know how, but I ended up in a women's only AA meeting the next day, and it was like everyone was going around the circle saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I'm an alcoholic." And I was like, that was the first time that I said that out loud, and I just cried. Yeah, I'm getting shivers because I just like, it was the first time that I not only admitted that to myself, but it was the first time that I felt accepted in a room of strangers who
Mm.
knew exactly what I was going through. And I just, for me, I just knew that it was time to really address that, because there'd been moments where people would tell me throughout the years, like, oh, you got to cool it. And I'm like, you got to cool it, right? Don't tell me how to live my life. And I'm like, or like, I'd be like, yeah, I got to cool it. And then 3 days later, I'm just back on the same thing. So I really, it's really hard to be in that cycle, especially when you know there's something wrong and you can't do it. And for a long time, I didn't want to go to AA because of that idea that it was so religious based. But I will say, like,
Mm.
AA saved my life because I needed to surrender that part of myself to a higher power. And a higher power is so non denominational. Like, it doesn't matter. You can even, the program itself can be a higher power. But I think just like, please just take this off of me. Whoever, I don't even remember who I was talking to back then. But I think I really needed that in order to be able to move forward. And, yeah, it's been so long now that I can't, the details are so blurry, but I just remember the feeling of helplessness and hopelessness and the spiraling, and just, and then now as I'm sober, I'm looking back and like, oh no, I was ruining relationships left, right, and center, like without realizing it. I'm just like, that was not a healthy person. So, and it's funny too, because I think like you kind of set yourself up into this sort of, well, this is it for me. There's no, I can't
Mhm.
change, and this is all that my life will be, and it doesn't have to be that way. And yeah, it's tough, but there is, when you're ready, and you'll know. So
It come to you, you
yeah,
know?
just it was my time to really answer that, because I knew it was, I don't know. I didn't, my higher self knew. My higher self brought me to that room that day. I don't know how I got there, honestly. It was so bizarre.
Miracles.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
Yeah. Mercy. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing.
course. Yeah.
That's beautiful and powerful. So now you are like doing your thing, you're sober and you're just trying to help others. Let me ask you, you have something that calls intuition activation.
Right.
What
Yeah.
share something about that?
I feel like that's something that has been a recent development in what I would like to offer people. And this is coming from doing drop-in readings quite frequently lately, and just the meeting people who, there is a lot of there's a lot of like non self trust, I guess, if that's, like,
Yeah.
we all have intuition, but like we second guess it. And so, I mean, it's a muscle that needs to be worked. So, intuition activation, it's kind of just like a buzzy way for me to say, like, I just really think that that part of you that's not gone, it just might be dimmed down. Um, I would love to be able to strengthen that with people. So, when I do tarot workshops, a lot of it is that's kind of hidden in there. So, like, I don't really, I'll teach you the basic, and that's why I'm sort of stepping away from being so formal about teaching tarot, but like, because I want people to use their intuition more. And tarot is such a amazing tool for that,
Mm.
because um images, they're just like, that's how we can see more in an image than we can in words. But we're so hung up on knowing what the meaning of the card is that we're not looking at the whole picture. So I force
Mm.
people who've never read tarot before to read tarot for me, because they those are some of the best readings I've ever gotten, are people who are just like picking up on the first things that call to them. And so I really think that's a quality that I mean, a skill. Like, I want to share, I want to support people in building up in themselves again. Because I think once you have that self trust and you trust your intuition, man, life is so much easier. you know?
That is so, I never thought about it. You're right. Like when is somebody like so innocent who just look at the cards and can tell you something that is like
Yeah,
from a pure heart, like you really don't have
yeah,
any logic in there. That is so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I
So
never thought
it's a
about
little
it.
bit, it's like that receptive. It's just that knowing, like, and then it like gives them this confidence, like, oh wow, I do know it. Yeah, we all know it. We just have to remember it. So yeah.
So I love that. So that's so cool. I mean, like we are nearly by the time, but if you can share one more couple things, and that is like how people can work with you
Sure.
and whatever you're running, whatever workshops, whatever, just share it with us so we can. I'm gonna link everything in the description anyway, but if you can
Wonderful.
share.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Parlour Esoteric. You can also find me on my website at parlourarts.ca. I will say it's Parlour, Parlour. I don't know if there's a difference in American and Canadian spelling, but we spell Canadian. And right now, you can work with me. I do online tarot readings, and then I do online one-on-one sessions, which is sort of like inner alchemy adjustments. So it's like mindset, and we dabble in some tarot symbolism there too. And then I've got a Substack. All the links are in my bio on my Instagram page. So if you just go there, you'll find everything. But yeah, and just doing a lot of online and then in nature stuff. So if you're local in St. John, Canada, St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, connect with me and I'll take you to the woods.
What would you say if somebody like is kind of like, oh, this is too woo, I don't understand tarot, what she can know, like what she can tell me? Can you maybe like give a guidance for people like that? Like they don't know what it is, what you can tell them, I don't know, like what is your approach? You know, they there's lots of people out there who are scared and consider this as a witchcraft, woo woo, you know.
Totally.
She
Yeah.
doesn't know.
No. Well, I'm not predicting the future. I don't use it for fortune telling or anything like that. That's not how I use the tarot. What I use it as is like I'm connecting in, we're both connecting in to the energy that is currently surrounding you. And the tarot is really just providing me a way to interpret, because sometimes we're too close to the situations that we don't see the full picture. So when you get a reading, it's really just someone helping you step back, shed some light on some blind spots, and have a different perspective, like an unbiased perspective. So a lot of times when people come to me, I ask them if they have a specific question, and they'll sometimes share, but often I'm like, you don't have to have something specific. And if you do, you don't have to tell me. And sometimes that's better, because what's going to come through is going to come through. So it is energy work. And it's not, I can't tell you, oh, in 5 days, this is going to happen. What it's more so is like, here's a weather report of, if we kept going in this current climate, this is where you should be kind of be prepared for. But also I've had readings where they just tell me something completely different than what someone comes to ask about. And so
Mm.
your higher self, because that's who's coming through, is going to know what you need to know in that moment. So it's just a really interesting way. And it's a lot of like, I guess psychological symbolism too is so tied in. And then, yeah, it's a really hard thing to answer, because I don't really know. I just know, like when I'm reading the cards, sometimes I don't know. And then that's confusing as well. But there's a reason for that. And we work through that. But like, yeah, it's not fortune telling, I will say. Yeah.
Okay, well, do you want to try? Do you want to like give us a card, or like, I don't know, for people who watch, or you can try anything you like. I'm connected to you, so it's gonna be card from me too. So
Yeah, okay. Let me pull you a card and see. That's probably the best. Or anyone can tap into this, I'm sure. I don't really do like the collective reading,
collective. Okay.
but a lot of people do, and I've watched collective readings, and they can be pretty accurate. So we'll see. Let's see what's gonna come through. Okay. Let's see. I'll just pull one. All right.
So people can have an idea. You know how it can be. It's not scary. You're not gonna tell them they're gonna die or anything like
Gosh,
that.
no. And there's no bad cards. I want people to know that there's no bad cards. Okay,
Yes.
Knight of Swords is coming. Something's coming in swift. Something's coming in hot, and it's like, it's not a person. Even though the court cards are often, they can be read as people. I feel like this is a change in how you're thinking about yourself. So
Mm.
the Knights is all about transition, and the Knight of Swords specifically is like overnight. I hear overnight success. So that's what I'm feeling with this, which is weird because I don't see him as a successful knight. But if something is moving quickly from one to the other, let me just pull another one. Okay, so then we have Page of Cups. So then there's this like, I think it goes this way. I think there's like a changing of thought about how we are nurturing ourselves. So this is like a self-love card. This is like very much new. So something is happening here in the way we're thinking. And we're going to be more appreciative of ourselves, and nurturing that intuitive dreamlike character, because he's such a dreamer, this little guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You have two very different cards here, but I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
that's how
Absolutely.
you are.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna think. Actually, I feel like something like that is happening right now, anyways. The change of how I see myself, and being also more brave. So yeah, it resonates.
Good. You'll have
But
to
I'm not
let
gonna share. Yes, I'm not gonna share more details.
yeah.
And one last thing I want to ask you: if you do tarot reading for yourself, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I
Do
used to do
you
tarot.
mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. I just wanted to ask if you pull cards for yourself for like guidance.
Yeah, I used to pull tarot every morning. And then I got to a point where I couldn't make the decision on my own unless I consulted the cards, and that was I knew then I needed to step back for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And now my relationship with tarot is very different. I don't pull for myself every morning, but I do like, and I know now that the power is never in the cards. The power is in the asker and the reader and like the higher self. So I'll really do a spread for myself now when there's like a big transition. So like seasonal changes,
Mm.
maybe on the full moon, maybe if there's something really, really that I'm just like, I'm looking at this from all possible angles, but I just need a little bit of help. So that's when I pull the cards. But when I first started, I would pull cards every day and journal and meditate with them. Oh, and I do meditate with the cards. I go into the cards, and that's where my practice now is leading me. So yeah. Yeah.
That. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're on 40 minutes, so I think that is it. If there's anything you would like to share or say somebody not to be afraid to approach this work, then feel free to share something like that,
Yeah,
like a
I mean,
last message.
thank you so much for having me on here. I do this work, but I also feel like it's important to talk to people about it. So if you are curious and you just have a question and you want to reach out, I would love to hear from you, sab@parlourarts.ca. And let me help you not be afraid of the tarot because it's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, it's so beneficial. And I want to see you blossom on your journey.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Everything's gonna be linked in the descriptions. Please go and follow Sab. Send her a message, give her a call, whatever she takes. And thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you.